And here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be honest. I make a lot of comments on posts like this, and the value add from that is I get content for this podcast. It gives me a look inside what people are thinking. So I love conversating with them. I don't take anything personal. Dead ass. You can call me stupid. You can call me whatever. I don't really care, dude. I don't know you. And if we met 9 out of 10, I'm pretty sure you can kick my ass. So that being the case, I don't take none of this stuff personal. And I'm pretty good at spotting when I'm talking to a bot. Pretty good at it. However, with AI advances now, I might need to up my game, but I'm pretty sure. So I made a comment on this NBC News post. I did. And here was the comment I made. You can go search the NBC News post and you will see Marcus L. Spade Johnson. And here's my post. I said, here we go again. The argument has been laid out adequately and articulately. At this point, if you're against reparations, just say you don't like black folks. It's cool to do nation building in the Middle East, give billions to Ukraine, give tax breaks, free land and money to white Americans because America sees value in that. Just say you don't see value in black Americans and keep it moving. Now, a lot of y'all gonna hear that comment and be like, Spade, you was just trying to trigger people. And no, that was not my intentions at all. I'm just speaking the truth. America in general does not see value in black people. You invest in things you see value in. We are investing in the Ukrainian war because it's a proxy war and we're trying to take down Russia. We see value in that, so we're giving it money. We gave money to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, and all those Middle Eastern countries because they had oil fields. We saw value in it. American governments will invest in new stadiums for professional teams, sporting teams, and won't invest in inner city schools because they see more value in professional sports leagues than educating underprivileged black students. We don't see value in general with black Americans. So when you start talking about reparations and investing into black Americans, a lot of people just shut off because they see no value in black Americans. And that's the point I'm making. Just say you don't like black people and you see no value in us. I'm actually cool with it. If you say that, cool. But the thing is, when you say that and you put it out so bluntly, people get triggered and they want to make the, no, that ain't the case. That ain't. But the arguments they throw back at you kind of expose the fact that is what they think, right? Like the only thing most people can think to do for black people that will quote unquote help is stricter policing laws. Like that is the crux, which goes back to like a whole bunch of racial tropes and a lot of problematic systemic problems we need to fix in America. But the only thing they can think to do for the black community is policing. And we're going to talk about the Memphis incident later and you see how that's going. But that's what it is. Policing. That's the only thing. Well, we invested in more police. Not in infrastructure. Not in like low interest home loans, which were denied to black people. None of that. Just policing. It's just people like to deflect from that. The truth is, you see no value in black people, but you rather deflect and be like, no, that's not it. Then when you put them on the spot and tell them, well, here's some stuff you can do. Like, why don't we get this reparations bill together? No, we can't do that because then people now will be paying for the mistakes of people in the past. And that's a dumbass argument, guys. Let me tell you right now, if your argument against reparations is people now will be paying for mistakes of people in the past, tell me what the hell a bailout is. The U.S. government pays for other people's mistakes all the damn time. Let me read some of the comments I got on this post. Remember, my post was, here we go again. The argument has been laid out adequately and articulately. At this point, if you're against reparations, just say you don't like black folks. It's cool to do nation building in the Middle East and give billions to Ukraine, give tax breaks to the rich, and free land to white folks because America sees value in that. Just say you don't see value in black Americans and keep it moving. That's my post. The reply I got to the post was from the homie Nate Bigley. Great name, by the way. Marcus L. Spade Johnson, we do see you as equal. That's why we're not going to shower you with free government money for no reason other than having dark skin. but stuff was systematically done to keep black people down because of their dark skin. So you can hate a group of people because of their dark skin, but you can't help them out because of their dark skin. I find that contradictory. And it's not free government money. It's money that was withheld from black people for the work they did. It ain't free. That money is earned. And Nate and I had a good back and forth. And basically the question I was asking him was, what about if instead of cash payments, what about in ways of reparations, we redo all the projects that black folks were systematically left out of? Like, we know redlining was a thing. We know black folks was targeted in redlining. So how about we have low interest rate fixed loans for black people for more home ownership in their neighborhoods? And Nate was like, yeah, I agree with that. Which lets me know that he knows something is wrong, something needs to be done. But when you start talking about cash payments, it kind of turns people off, which I don't know why. If you actually position the word in means of a tax cut, I think a lot more people will actually be on board with it. Because basically reparations can be positioned as a tax cut. Just like we give money to corporations and the rich people and money they don't have to pay, you can select that on my taxes like it's an earned tax income. And that's the conundrum you can put the Republican Party in. Hey, you down for tax cuts? Why don't we give tax cuts to black people? Which would then force them to be like, yeah, it's the black people part I'm not down with. Tax cuts are awesome, just not tax cuts to one specific group. And the counterpoint to that going to be like, well, why should we target one group? Because one group was targeted. And most people are going to agree with that. Yeah, you're right. Black folks was targeted for discrimination. So now, since systematic stuff was done to black people, something systematic has to be done to lift them up, right? You can't burn my house down, then say, okay, I'm sorry, I won't burn your house down again, and then just leave me out in the cold. I still need a house, damn it. Black folks were denied education. So how about we give all the descendants of slaves free education, all the way up to a bachelor's degree? A lot of people will be like, yeah, that seems fair, right? But when you say cash payment, it kind of just really turns people off, which is weird. Now, your argument may be, well, look, Marcus, you didn't earn the money. Yes, but the money you denied my ancestors could have built wealth for me now. See what I'm saying? So it was earned money. It's not like this money is free, dude. No, this is money that's owed to black people. And another kind of argument that really shows like how people think of black people, and you hear like a lot of black people say this, well, if reparations are given to black people, they're just going to mess off their money. Yeah, a lot of them will, right? Like, yeah, but you can't tell somebody how to spend the money you owe them. But there's going to be a large group of black people too that use that money to build wealth and close up the racial economic gap, wealth gap. That next comment I got, Marcus L. Spade Johnson, here we go again. At this point, if you support punishing innocent, well, I'm assuming he meant innocent people, so I'm going to add the people in there. Punishing innocent people who had nothing to do with slavery, then you just serving the prince of this world. I'm assuming he means Satan. Just say you don't have decency. And that was a weird one for me, right? Like, you may say nobody is alive now that has slaves, but there is an entity that was around back then that we can't hold accountable, and that is the U.S. government. And the U.S. government routinely pays for past mistakes. And you got to really look at this as an investment, a shared cost investment in America. Like, the general problem with America is we will invest in businesses, but we won't invest in people. And this is just not black people too, just people in general. We don't want to invest in them or take any shared costs for education and stuff like that. But you're going to have to do this with black people, right? If you want a more fair and equitable America. That's basically what we do. We do nation building. When we do nation buildings in foreign countries, we take that money, we give it to Afghanistan, Uzbekistan. They take that money, they repackage it, and some of that money, if the nation isn't corrupt, goes to education and building up that nation. If you're going to do the same thing in America, you should go back to some of the mistakes we did and correct those so it can be a more equitable America. But that's not the argument. It's just like, yo, innocent people, I don't want to pay for that. But once again, I had to pay for people who got a dumbass arm loan. I had to pay for the airlines being bailed out. Not my mistake, but I had to pay for it. So it's kind of a moot point. And the decent thing to do is, hey man, make everything right. Like, don't you want to make everything right in America? But that ain't the case. You know? Because once again, if I was talking about investing in a new football stadium, a lot of people be like, yeah, I see value in that. But once again, when you talk about black people, no value whatsoever. And Keith Hahn, which was like, this is the dumbest comment I ever got. Like, Keith, you are dumb. I generally don't call it out people, but Keith Hahn, you're stupid. He said, and maybe the ancestors of those who sold their own into slavery should pay. Keith, you're stupid. You're dumb, Keith. I just can't express how stupid you are. We're not talking about the world. We're talking about America. America's responsibility to its American citizens. It's black American citizens, which goes back to the point that you don't see us as equal Americans. You want my ancestors to pay for slavery. My ancestors should pay for slavery. My ancestors. How could my ancestors be involved in the selling of me if they're my ancestors, Keith? Keith, they're my ancestors. They were enslaved. How are my ancestors going to pay for what was done to them? Stupid, Keith. You are dumb. Like Keith, are you saying every black person on the continent of Africa is related? Do you see how stupid you sound, Keith? My ancestors should pay. My ancestors had the atrocities done to them, Keith. Just a dumb comment. Just stupid. Dumb as... Woo, Keith, you're dumb. My ancestors are dead, Keith. They're dead. How are they going to pay? My ancestors are going to pay right now? They're dead, Keith. They're dead. But the U.S. government is still around. We can hold the U.S. government accountable. But even if my ancestors who were enslaved were somehow the blame, they're dead. You're dumb, Keith. Ooh, you're dumb. If you're trying to make a resolution that all the Western African nations should throw something in, say that. But this goes to ignorance, because what you don't know, Keith, is Western African nations are actually giving black Americans free citizenship. Ghana is giving black Americans land. Giving them land. Telling them to come home. That's reparations. They are paying, Keith. Right? You don't know that because you don't really care. This is a deflection. You're not trying to make it a fair and equitable America. Basically, you're saying what every person who doesn't value black people say. When y'all gonna leave? When my ancestors helped build this goddamn country, I shouldn't leave. I should get what I'm owed. And so should my ancestors who had atrocities done to them. I cannot express how dumb you are, Keith. Like, seriously, I generally don't do this, but Keith, you're dumb. Do better. But that's not the point you're making. You're trying to deflect and say America shouldn't pay nothing because, quote unquote, black people sold black people into slavery. Not all, man. Keith, be better. Don't be stupid. Stop being stupid. But yeah, there it is, man. Look, I'm not trying to tell you what to think or how to think, but reparations or a reparations package is something that needs to be done in America to close the gap in wealth, the racial wealth gap, right? Scholars have laid this out, and I find it odd that nobody can debate the topic on the merits. Now, all these scholars, all these economists are giving you the reason why, and the only thing you can say is it happened a long time ago. That's your only rebuttal, basically. Time. Not that it wasn't bad, not that something needs to be done. Well, it happened a long time ago, so I guess we can't do nothing. When we're bailing out companies all the time now, we're paying for past mistakes now. And that's because you don't see value in black people. Just admit it. Stop hiding. Say it.